the replay. We are making it out to the barn. It is about 18 degrees out here right now, which it was quite a bit colder this morning. But I had somebody else check on the barn for me this morning because my day has been absolutely crazy. But I'm now out here now that it's noon, and we can take a look at our girls and see how we are doing. So, right off the bat, I noticed Zetra's kind of tucked over in the corner over there. And we'll take a look at that. We've got Heartland here, who we've been watching. She released a plug the other day. We've got some girls eating lunch. Hey, Marcia. We've got some girls outside chilling, which is interesting. It is day, so there is that. But we've got some girls out here. I'm curious why Timepiece is sitting down out here. We're going to definitely check on her. We've got a little lady over there acting a little bit weird too. So definitely some things to be watching. We are, let's see, Sunday was the first, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Today or tomorrow is the first possible due date for our does. So not the first possible kidding date, but the first possible due date would be either today or tomorrow. I don't remember. I think it's tomorrow, the 6th. But we are getting quite a bit closer, that's for sure, to having our first kids. So we're starting to see a lot of the does that I'm not so confident in able to say, oh, we're fine, we're not going to have kids. I'm not thinking we're going to have kids today. I'm not seeing anything that's really suggesting we will. So there is that. But there's also, we're starting to run out of things that I'm seeing that will say, no, we're not having kids today. So yeah, just a lot more ambiguity, if you will, with how long it'll be till we have our first kid. So we're looking decent. This pen is pretty chill. We're all looking kind of okay. Don't get me wrong, still looking very pregnant. But we are not having the signs presenting for imminent birth. We've got some bagging up going on over in this pen. We've got some attitude changes. We've got some ligaments loosening. First fresheners are always a little bit interesting. It's so much harder to tell. Zenoria here dropped recently. That's new. Her ligaments are practically non-existent. Bagging up hasn't really happened, but she's the first freshener. It's odd a lot of times with them in what regard how things are going to shape up. So definitely looking at her, watching where she's at, because something's changed with her recently. And those changes typically are good indicators. So yeah, definitely watching her. We've got flaxseed and squib over here. Squib's eating, which is encouraging, but she is bagging up probably the most out of anyone in this pen. But again, first freshener, so relatively unsure about what that really means, because it's just so difficult to tell. Good afternoon. We've got Flower here, who is not really doing anything, just kind of chilling. We've got some girls sitting down, not acting weird. Where's Xandra? Hey, I'm trying to walk here. Here's Xandra, Xandra D. We've been watching Xandra D over the last couple days, as she's just starting to be a little bit noteworthy, if you will, just ready to be watched. So I wanted to make sure I took a look at her. Sometimes it takes me a second to try and remember all the does I said I was going to be watching. So we've got Faya here, who looks to be in a pretty good mood. She seems excited to see me, which is good. It's not morning, so we don't have to worry about that as much. She's cranky in the morning, for everybody who's wondering what I mean by that. Good afternoon, Martha. Hope you are doing well. She's getting some scratches. Yeah, that's a good scratch, isn't it? Right where you like it. Right where you like it. Yeah. You can tell she's loving this because she's stretching out her neck like that. She's like, oh, that feels so good. Oh, the scratches. She can't really reach back here anymore with the pregnancy, so getting some scratches in. Normally, they love to scratch themselves back here, and you can a lot of times see as far, like you'll see this tuft of hair. Well, maybe you can't. There's a tuft of hair right here. That's about as far back as they can reach, and a lot of times they'll leave marks as far back as they can reach because they're trying to scratch a spot closer to their tail, and they just can't reach it anymore. You'll also see them doing the butt dance on these pillars, just like scratching their backsides up against it because they can't reach them anymore because they're too big. Oh, covered in hair. Thanks, man. Hey, Jen. Oh, that's a big yawn. So yawns for alpines tend to mean that they are uncomfortable. So we'll see a lot of yawning in like pre-labor as they start to prepare. And excuse me, she made me yawn though. As they start to prepare and all of their ligaments are loosening and they're effacing and dilation's beginning. So we'll see a lot of that. Hey, Barbara. Is everybody staying warm wherever you guys are at? We got a bunch more melting yesterday, so we're down to like only a few inches of snow because it all kind of just sunk, which is something. It's still very cold though, 18 degrees today, but the family's back, so Mom typically has a fire roaring, which is always nice because when we go back to the house, we can sit in front of the fire, as opposed to when she wasn't here. We don't typically. I mean, we had a fire a few times, but typically we don't have one day in, day out, unless Mom's here. You seem to always have one goat that will play with the feeder making noise. Yes, there's always one, and if it's not one of them, a different one's doing it. Joan says, I'm in upstate New York, and it's still cold and lots of snow. I can imagine. If we still have it here, you guys must have it worse. And Linda says, hello from New Jersey. My local farm stand has 3 male goats, so I am not familiar with the terms used for your mama goats. 24 degrees here. So these are called, so they're does, is the term for a female. And then they're also dams because they're dams and bucks, or dams and sires. So bucks and does, dams and sires. And then we'll use things like yearling, first freshener meaning it's just their first time freshening. So they've never had kids before and then therefore have never come into milk before. But yeah, these girls are our does, but we'll call them our girls, our ladies, the herd. We refer to them as a lot of different things. Tammy says hi. And Jim says, do you stay out there with them while they give birth? Yes, we will be out here with them when they give birth. And hopefully we will be able to have you guys along as well via our lives, which should be starting to have our kids in the next couple of days. I don't think we'll have any today, and I certainly hope we don't have any tonight. But I'm sure we'll have some born during the Super Bowl, because I haven't got to actually watch the Super Bowl in I don't even know how many years, because we always get called out to deliver a goat instead, because why would it be any other way, right? So this weekend will be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, I would fully expect we'll have our first doe or our first kids this weekend. Just not because of anything, just because you pick the most inconvenient time for them to deliver, and that's when they're going to deliver. So we'll see. Hopefully, I would love to have some first ones before then, and I would love to have skipped a few. Skip the weekend. That would be nice if we could just skip the weekend and come back and have more on Monday. But I wouldn't begrudge them getting these babies out. They've carried them for close to 5 months at this point, so they deserve to have a little bit of a break. Isn't that right, Heartland? She's giving me her grunts. So these ladies all been drinking, and they dip their beards in the water when they drink, and so they're all frozen. So all their all of the bottoms of their beards are frozen. Yes, mealtime always happens during, Super Bowls, and whenever it's inconvenient, that's when things need to be done. It's just how it always works. So, no, but we love it anyway. Hey, David. Zilly. I know that my hands aren't out to pet you, but that's because it's cold, and you don't need to eat everything, like my sleeves. So here's Slepton. I haven't showed you guys Slepton's mustache in a while, but Slepton has the cutest little milk mustache on her face. You look at me? Show everybody your milk mustache. That's the other spot they can't reach. They can't reach the top of their heads. So they like getting scratched on the top of their heads. Jen asks, once they start having them, will someone be there with them at night? Not the entire night. If they are delivering during the night, yes, we will be with them. But once they've been delivered, then we will make sure they have their first bottles, make sure that everything is smooth, going well, and then we will go home. But yes, we will spend quite a few nights here delivering goats and feeding babies and doing all sorts of things. We'll start splitting schedules a little bit so that we can have morning people come in and have night people stay late, and just a whole lot of time spent here at the farm. So that's how that will work. But no, we don't. We have historically spent 24/7 with them all through the night, but we don't anymore. We've gotten very good at finding, predicting, seeing signs, knowing when they're going to deliver. We've gotten very good at helping to avoid that. Different things like we can feed them at night as goats are digesting their food. So goats are ruminants, which means they have 4 stomachs, and they have to regurgitate their roughage to chew it. It's called chewing their cud, and that chewing their cud is part of their digestion. That chewing their cud and the digestion process typically slows down birth and isn't something that they want to do. So typically we'll see them, so we feed them at night. They don't really get a big breakfast or lunch. They have a little bit, but we give them their big meals at dinner, and that helps them to not deliver during the night. So we end up with, naturally they tend to deliver during the mornings anyway. That's just when they naturally want to. But that's not always how it works, obviously. So I would say probably only about 40% don't deliver during the mornings. Like, I don't know, 6 to 1, I would say, is where a majority of them happen. Probably only about 40% deliver outside of that time frame. And then probably only about 15% would deliver during the night. And with the feedings, we can typically bring that down to about 10%. So we only have about 10%. We have 30-ish, so we'd be looking at like 3-ish does that we would expect to go during the night. So not terrible. And it would definitely allow us to really not have to be here all the time, specifically since that's looking starting February 1st through I think March 21st. So quite a long time to be spending all of the time out here. Specifically when roughly only about 3 does will probably deliver during the night. We also typically don't catch the night births on live just because one person is typically enough. But if you're recording them, then it's typically not enough. And so we don't typically wake up another person in the middle of the night to record. So if it's me, I'd typically hop on and kind of hop off, and you'd have a few short lives in between deliveries kind of thing. But never quite sure what the plan's going to be for the whole year. And Marcia says, sleep-deprived people will be starting soon. Yep. Who am I kidding? I'm already sleep-deprived. I'm already sleep-deprived. Not because I can't be, just because there's always too much to do. So I ended up working a little bit extra last night, just trying to get stuff finished up. Hi, sweetie. So I know back when we used to have our live cameras, a lot of you guys all knew a ton of these girls by heart. So the real question is, at this point, after doing a few lives on repeat, do you guys still know who any of these does are? Like, does anybody know who this doe is and what her name is? I'm getting a phone call. We're going to ignore that. I'm busy. Isn't that right? Yep, this is tea time. So we've got tea time here. She's kind of an easier one in my opinion. She is the oldest doe she's the oldest pregnant girl in this pen. This is our oldest doe. Anybody know who the oldest doe is? This one here. I'll let you see your face. Hey, can I see your face? You want to say hi? Kim says, I bet Kara will, but I don't. Yeah. So these two are the old ladies of the group. Tea time. And then this one. She's the oldest. She is 12 years old, I believe. And if I remember correctly, I believe she was born on Indigo's birthday. So she's one of Indigo's birthday goats. I can never remember for sure if she's Indigo's birthday goat. I can't keep track of all Indigo's birthday goats. This is Zelina, the oldest doe on the farm. Yes, Shadow was pretty easy to identify. I'm trying to see if there's any other ones that are kind of easy to identify or that I've been mentioning a lot. I know, obviously, some of our girls are a little bit, like this one is relatively distinct in the sense that she is our only belted black doe that we have. similar to Shadow in that regard, in that Shadow is a belted black doe. But this one is, this is Bulette, so she has a pretty distinct colored pattern. Obviously this one is relatively distinct as well. I've mentioned her quite a bit too, so you guys have a decent chance of knowing who this is. Does anybody know who this one is? She's one of our younger does, so it's definitely not going to be as easy because she was not around when any of the live cameras were around. But I've mentioned her a few times. She released her plug a few days ago, and so I've been watching her. But she's not bagged out, and her ligaments are still pretty tight. Actually, they're loosening up. They're loosening up quite nicely. So she, I don't think, Ashton told me the other day, she says, Emery, you think blank is gonna deliver first? That's not gonna happen. There's no way. None of the signs are there. And I was like, she released her plug, so like we can at least watch her. And she was like, well, I guess if you say so, but I do not think she's going to be the first to deliver. And I was like, I don't think she's going to be the first to deliver either. But she is getting closer. And then Ashton was like, all of them are getting closer, Emery. They're all getting closer. All right, well, this one is Heartland. So that's who this girl is. She and Zelina are our only two belted chamoises. They're the two that we have those two belted. And Heartland is young and Zelina is old. So that's those two. Here's another doe that I'm always happy to show the camera because she's grumpy in the mornings. So we may not recognize her by her color or even by her expressive ears, but maybe you all know her name from the last couple lives that I've done. See how close you guys have been paying attention, right? I mean, for me, it's easy because I've been raised with these girls, you know. Like, I know all of these girls by heart. You know, some of the first fresheners are a little bit harder, and then actually the hardest one in this pen is actually Madrigal for me, because Madrigal, the white and black one, the Coup Blanc there, that one. Madrigal was a milk through, and so she wasn't on the milk string like a normal doe was, and so I kind of always forget about her. And so I'm like, who are you? Also, our M line is probably our smallest line, as in we only have 2 M's. And so I don't think about their lineage as much, and so I look at her face and I'm like, your face doesn't look like a V, but Coup Blancs tend to run in the V family, so who could you be? And I get hung up on a few other details and trying to think too much instead of just instantly knowing, boom, it's Madrigal. I say that, obviously, I just know she's Madrigal, but my first reaction isn't to see her and go, boom, Madrigal. Tammy says, hopefully none born outside. Yes, I am also hoping that none are born outside, because that would not be fun, and we tend to, they tend to have a little bit more trouble if they're born outside. Just at the beginning, obviously. And Kelly says, hello, Emery from Northern Michigan. Hey, Kelly. We're playing a fun little game where we try and see who knows which goat. Oh, I didn't tell you guys the name of the temperamental one. I say temperamental. She's just cranky in the mornings. That's Faya. Faya's the one who's cranky in the mornings. She's not a morning goat. See, she's just cranky all the time. Look at that. She also has very expressive ears, so you'll see her ears go back all the time in comparison to a lot of other does. But like, you know, at tea time here, like she's clearly paying attention. Her ears are all forward focused. She's checking out Percival over there on the far side. My fingers are frozen. And then I guess here's another one. This one is Ashton actually gets this one confused with Hepra. she thinks Hepra and this doe are always confusing for her. Not if they're side by side, but like just first reaction again. She's kind of like, oh, but then she has to take a double take sometimes. So this one is a doe who I've been watching. We've talked about her quite a bit. She was having a little bit of trouble standing up and walking around for a day or two because I believe there was a baby that was sitting on a nerve a little bit funny. And so I watched that the first day, and then it continued to get better and better as the baby moved off of that nerve, and she kind of rehabilitated walking on that nerve. But she still sometimes has just a little bit of trouble getting up and walking around because they are 5 months pregnant, and so they're just taking up all the space inside the womb, and so they're just kind of compressing and pressing on a lot of things. So I've seen a few times when she'll walk up, she'll be a little bit tender on her. I believe it's her back right foot that she the hip seems to be a little bit tight. Which again is most likely just a kid kind of sitting on a nerve a little bit funny. So, but that doe that I'm talking about, this one right here that I'm referring to, is Xandra D. So Xandra is Zelina's daughter. Zelina has 3 daughters in here. Which is probably the most. I don't think anybody else has 3 daughters in here. Now there's a lot that have like 4 or 5. Well, not that are still with us, but like there's a lot that are all, a lot that have like grandchildren, lots of grandchildren. But, so that's Xandra D. The other sister is Zilly. This is Zilly here. She's the youngest and of Zelina's. So that's Zelina, the mom, and then we've got Xandra D. Well, we've got Zilly, the youngest. Xandra D is in the middle. And then this girl over here is our oldest of Zelina's. And does anybody know Zelina's oldest daughter? We've talked a lot about her as well. I just started this video saying that she's dropped more, as well as we've been watching her just because she's kind of a bigger girl. So I've been watching her really since the beginning, like 2.5 weeks ago. So yeah, the Musgrave family farm says hi, and then Jen asks, don't you have a Zelda? We do not have a Zelda. I'm trying to think. We have had a Zelda, but we do not. We not for a long time. So that's that. And then this is Zetra. Yep. It's just Zetra, no S. But yes, this is Zetra. So nice job, Kelly. So that's Zetra. She's the oldest, and then Xandra D, and then Zilly is the youngest. All right, well, here's, in Ashton's opinion, Xandra D's lookalike. She does have the same coloration as Xandra D, but she has a lot more white, and her head shape isn't the same. Neither is her body shape. Really, the whole body shape is wrong to be a Z anyway. She's an H, which our Z's and our H's actually, they could be more different, but they are not similar body styles. Also, I'm trying to think if what's the closest relation that Xandra D and Hepra, this girl, have in common. And Xandra D's dad is Titanium, and Titanium's dad is Shipwreck. So her grandfather is Shipwreck, and Hepra's father is Shipwreck. So that means they are first cousins once removed. Yeah, first cousins once removed on their father's side. On her father's side, Shipwreck. So that's how that works. I can't remember when you had many more goats. Yeah, we had so many more goats. And do you have the P line anymore? Yes, we still have the P line. Let's find some of our P's. All right, so here's one. This is Prism. So that's Prism. And then that's Purdy over there. And then we've got Plaza in here. So here's Plaza. So that's Plaza. And then we have got Pensley. Here's Pensley. Here's Pensley. So here's Pensley. All right, Peach. All right, Peach had two sisters, Passion Fruit and Pineapple. Peach was the sun gal of the lot. Peach's mother would have been Pemberley, and trying to remember who on earth their father would have been. I think it was Zamboni. So I believe it was a Pemberley Zamboni kid, which means the relation from Peach down to Pensley, which Pensley and Plaza are sisters. Yes, and Pilates was their sister as well, but then Pilates had Prism and Pensley had Purdy. So that's those. So the two in there are one, Purdy is Pensley's daughter. But Peach, what about a Pemberley? And Pemberley had, did Pemberley have Parsnip, or was there a doe in between? I can't remember if Parsnip, so her mother is Parsnip, and her father is, Pensley's father is Vlad, Pensley's father is Vlad, and Parsnip, who is her mother, was either Peach's half-sister or the daughter of her half-sister. And I can't remember for sure. I would have to, I know, right, guys, I'm getting old and forgetting things. I can't remember for sure if it's her half-sister or her half-sister's daughter who is her mother. But anyway, that's how our P line is connected to Peach, or our current P's are connected back to Peach. So yeah. Kesha says, hello, everybody. And Marsha says, how do you remember all that? And Jen says, I don't know how you remember them all. I don't know either, guys. Like, honestly, it's just part of, like, my brain, I guess. You know, don't ask me to solve any math equations, but ask me to remember goat genealogy and steel trap up here. So, I guess everybody's just blessed with something a little bit different, you know, and what can I say? I can talk behind a camera and I can remember 600 different goats' names and how they're related to who. But yeah, you just kind of keep with it, and the things that come easy, they come easy, and the things that don't, you got to work for. So I am blessed that it comes easily to me. And Kelly says, it's what you grew up with. Yep. You know it. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and sign off because my hands are quite literally frozen. And I will see you guys. And let's be real, we're not going to have kids for the next couple hours. That's for sure. So I will see you guys in future videos. Thank you once again for all of your support. And I will see you all in future videos. Bye, guys.